Good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Kathy, and I am the self-proclaimed Duchess of Montfort. It's not a long story. It's just that I lived on this street all my life, and a while back I was thinking how long I had been here and how many other people have come and gone, and families have grown up and people have moved on, and I thought, I was only away from here for 2 years when I first got married, and then I came back to this house, and I said, I bet I'm the oldest one on the street, not age-wise, but the length of time that they've lived here. So that just came to mind. So when I started this channel, I said, I'll just call myself the Duchess of Montfort, in case you're wondering where that comes from. Today, I'm going to I prefer not to call it a copycat or a hack. I'm going to do a elevated recipe. Now this recipe is actually very simple. Comes out of a bag. Betty Crocker sugar cookie mix. And it is a 17.5 ounce bag. It's pretty large. Well, you know, one of the larger bags. I've had this a while. I don't even know if they make them that larger anymore. That large. So I'm going to pour this into the bag. And part of it is following the directions, and the rest of it is adding to, elevating the flavor and the directions. So I'm going to dump this into my bowl. And it calls for 1 room temperature egg. Room temperature for eggs is always a good thing because it keeps everything at the same temperature in the bowl, and it doesn't throw anything off. It's not absolutely necessary, but it generally works better that way. It stirs up better, it mixes better. That's 1 large egg, and it calls also for a stick of butter, which has to be at room temperature, so it has to be pretty soft. And this does the trick. This is room temperature. This is soft, about as soft as I would want it to be, where you can still handle it. There it goes. That's 1 stick. And then that's all the recipe calls for. You follow the directions on the back, which tell you $3.75 for an aluminum pan, $3.50 for a non-stick pan, and you bake until edges are golden brown, and cool 2 minutes before removing from the cookie sheet. And you're putting these on to an ungreased cookie sheet, and the rule of thumb is 2.5 inches apart, and that's what we're going to do too. And you don't, I'm going to see how this works. It says to stir it. I'm not sure whether it's going to stir or not because of what I'm adding to it. So I'm going to get a long-handled fork, and I'm going to see if that works to begin with. Now, what I'm going to add to it is 1/4 cup of cranberries, dried cranberries. I think they might also be called, some brands are called craisins. So I'm going to put that in. And the reason I'm using 1/4 cup is because the size of the bag of the mix itself is larger than most. And I'm also going to use, put you down just a little bit here, some chopped walnuts. Now, I didn't measure these. I just put them out on the cutting board and started chopping them up, so they were not minuscule, not tiny, not bits, but so that they were small enough that they would mix well in with the cookie mix. This is my favorite knife. It's a Zakarian. He's an Iron Chef. You may have seen him on the Food Network, or he advertises some of his things on QVC. I'm not sponsored by him or anything, but I bought these 3 knives, a paring knife, a cutlery, and this knife, and a clerk's knife, I think they call the second one. It works very well. It will hold up because it's got riveted, and it's riveted, and the blade goes all the way to the end. Regardless of what brand you buy on knives, be careful what you buy, because if you buy them that are glued in, they're not going to last as long as one that would have the rivets in it. Now, you shouldn't put your knives in the dishwasher. They should all be always washed by hand, regardless of how they're made. They'll last longer, the blades will last longer, but anyway, these are my current favorite knives, and I use them fairly often for lots of different things, especially the paring knife. I mean, I think a paring knife is probably known to be the most used knife in the kitchen, which makes sense because of fruit and vegetables. Speaking of fruit and vegetables, if you notice now where everything is called a charcuterie board, what happened to vegetable tray or fruit bowl? It's just, I don't know, it's not politically correct to say that anymore. I don't know where that comes from. But anyway, every time I hear that, it makes me think that I'm missing something. Okay, now, I hope while you're watching this, you'll give me a thumbs up. And there's a subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. And a thumbs up helps my channel. It takes a while to get yourself going. And I've been doing this for months, but I'm not doing as well as anybody would like to think they're doing. And I'd like to see more subscribers. And thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that you're watching and giving me your time this morning. Now, when I was cutting up these walnuts, I had gotten a 3-pound bag from Sam's. I opened them up this morning to take a cupful out, and it came complete with a walnut shell. So it goes to show you got to be careful for everything that you buy, no matter where you buy it, and don't assume anything. Fortunately, it was a large size, and I looked to make sure that there were no bits of the ones that I took out, that maybe there was another piece of a shell in there, but I didn't see anything. So I would just make sure that I pay attention to this as I'll go along. So now I'm going to take my walnuts, and I'm not sure what I have here. I don't, like I said, I didn't put it in a cup. I probably should have, but it's maybe a half to 3/4 of a cup. And then the last thing that I want to do, because it goes so well with, well, walnuts go good with everything, but it goes so well with cranberries, is orange. And I'm going to get myself my zester. Where are you, zester? Excuse me for just a minute. And wash off your orange, obviously. And we're going to see what we can. That's my oven. It's at 375. And that's a lesson I learned a long time ago, is your oven should be waiting for you. You shouldn't have to wait for your oven. So I'm going to zest this orange in here, the peel, and that should give it a lot of flavor too. And cranberries and orange is the time of the year for it, and they always go well together. It's very warm today. Yesterday it was very warm. It was 84 here at about 3:30. And I think today it feels like it might just do that again. Okay. So that nice, delicious, savory smelling zest. It really does smell good. Okay. So now I'm going to start putting all this together and see if everything that I added doesn't make it too stiff, and that I might just have to add a little bit of liquid to it. And if I do, what I'll add to it will be probably a little bit of milk. This isn't going to cut it. Let's see, what do we have we can operate on with this? Oh, that's much better. You gotta break up that butter. You don't want clumps of butter to come out and end up either on the bottom of the tray or only in some cookies and not in others. So what's the weather like near you? I'm assuming if you're watching anywhere nearby or on the East Coast, it's quite warm. And this weekend, sounds like we're going back into the rain again, which we had. There, I can get myself up a little bit higher. Not Sunday past, but the weekend before that, it was raining for days on end, and we had like, I don't know, I had a bucket out in the back, and when I looked in it to dump it, it must have, I didn't measure it, but it must have had 6 or 7 inches in it, and that was over a period of probably 2.5 days, maybe 2 days even. Now this is a little bit drier than I would hoped it would have been, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with the zest, but it has to do with either I should use a little more butter or I should add a little bit of liquid so that I can scoop these, because they're not going to scoop and they're going to fall apart. Well, look who it is. Come over here and say hello. Brady, do you want to say hello? Do you want to come over here and say hello? Come up here. Now I'm going to have to stop and wash my hands, but come on up here and say hello. Come up here. Can you come up here and say hello? Look who's up here. Is that you? Are you there? Come here. Come here. There he is. He is overdue to get himself a haircut. He just turned 2 in August. He doesn't like the FedEx man or United Parcel. He will bark at them. Garbage man, he leaves alone. He doesn't bother him. When the neighbors have company, he barks goes to the edge of the property on both sides and barks at them. Okay, you can get down now. Come on. You can get down now. I have to wash my hands. Come on. Come on. Go this way. Yep, keep going. Stay here. Stay here. Come here. Come here. Come out here. Come out here and I'll give you a treat. You want a treat? All right, you have to go in the other room and I'll give you a treat. All right, go on in there. That's a good boy. You know treat. You know that word. Come on over here and talk to me. Can you get closer so I can reach you? Yeah. Come here. There you go. I'm gonna rewash my hands. Okay. All right, now, this definitely is an experiment. I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do to take this from just being crumbles to the point where I can put it on a spoon and spoon it onto the tray. So, this I will measure just so I can give myself an idea. Should I do this again? This is just short of 1/3 of a cup. And that wasn't all of it, but that was the start of it. So let's see. I think I'll add, I don't know, should I add another egg? Or maybe I'll just use just a few more drops of this milk, because it looks like it's doing the trick. Yeah. All right, now let's see if I can we'll get an ice cream scoop, and, or you can use a tablespoon. I'm gonna try the ice cream scoop, and, oh, I got my water dripping. I knew I heard it somewhere. Okay. And that's what it ended up looking like. So I'm going to put maybe a heaping. Okay, I think that's going to work. And they're spaced about 2 inches apart. Not too close to the edge. And they'll all have the orange zest flavor, but I'm going to see when I'm done whether they all made it with the walnuts and the cranberries. Now the cooking time for this, I'm going to have to double check. I'm not sure what it was. There we go. And then one more. And this is going to take a couple of trips back and forth to the oven. I'm working with one baking tray, but I think it'll be all right. It's going to heat up the house more than I would like it to, but the finished product should be worth it. Okay, what do I have? 4, 8, 12 to a tray. And I'm going to put them in the oven at 375. And I'm going to set the timer for 12 to 14 minutes. Now, my oven, and everybody's oven is different, and everybody knows that, is a little bit hotter than some ovens are. So I always have to keep close attention to that. So I put it on 12 minutes, and I'm going to go from there. And all you need is to have just the bottoms lightly browned, because they will continue to cook for a little bit once you pull them out. And clean up my mess here. And it wasn't too bad. Hopefully these will turn out good. All right, I think that's going to be it. What I will do is, when I come back on my next video, I will let you know how I made out with this. Again, it was made with sugar cookies, walnuts, dried cranberries, and some orange zest. I did use a little milk that it didn't call for. It just called for 1 egg and 1 stick of butter. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. Please join me again. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and be kind to one another. It doesn't cost anything. What a difference a day makes. Thank you. Bye now.